All right. In today's session, we are going to just discuss regarding substantive procedures. I know this is a pain point for all of you mostly. And in today's session, I'll not just quickly, brush it up, but I'll try and tell you people little more in detail. Of course, not too detailed, but I will try my level best to include everything that you should potentially at least know from scratch for substantive procedures, and then we are going to solve the question number 3 of your latest past paper for substantive procedures. And then if you people have any doubts, any questions, we are going to discuss that as well. Okay. Again, I want the session to be very participative as we have had in day 1 and day 2. Try your level best to answer the questions as much as you can, because the more you answer, even if it is wrong, you get an understanding as to where you are lagging, or if it is right, you get that confidence that yes, I am able to do it, or my answers are getting right. So that increases your confidence also, especially for such a topic, right? So we'll start with the webinar. We will first be discussing regarding the basically your substantive procedure. We'll be revising from scratch. I hope I am assuming every one of you has problem. Is there anybody who feels that my substantive procedures are good? I have sufficient knowledge of it. Is there anybody? No, yes, no. Okay, perfect. Let's not waste time. Okay, perfect. So I have over here made certain notes for you people for substantive procedures, and we are going to discuss from these notes. If you people have any doubts in between, please feel free to ask me your doubts then and there only for substantive procedures. All right. So let's start. First of all, let's try and understand. First of all, अपने दिमाग से, from your brain, remove this thought that you have to rote learn substantive procedures. Okay, today I'll try my level best to explain you. Again, it is, guys, it is upon you. If you are listening to me properly, if you're opening up your brains and listening to me, not just passive listening but active listening also, and keeping a pen and paper with you, whatever you are listening, try and jot that down. Whatever you feel that you might need later on, please try and jot that down, because it is going to help you a lot, trust me, when you're writing your own procedures or when you're revising this topic. Okay, so if you are actively listening to me, I'm sure more than half of the problems that you are having for substantive procedures, that is going to get resolved, and the rest half of it is upon you, your practice, and how much you are, trying to understand the procedures. But let's remove this thought that we have to rote learn whosoever, because of course not all the students are from my full course students. So if you have taken some classes elsewhere, and by chance if they have told you that just, they have given you a PDF and just wrote learn, or if even if you're a self study student and you have heard people saying it, that just wrote learn and you'll be good to go. I am telling you right now, if you wrote learn the substantive procedures, I think I've told this before as well, I am sitting right now today, and today at 9th of February, and I'm definitely going to tell you that you're going to fail your paper if you learn substantive procedure. It is not just the aspect from your section B, it is the aspect from your section A also, right? And in section A, howsoever you learn anything in the paper, it is not going to help you out in section A specifically. Okay, so let's start with the procedures. Now, look it, before we start with the procedures, let's understand why do we perform the procedures. Okay, so you people all know the audit trail. The first thing that happens is, the prerequisites that happen before the audit. We're not going to discuss that we have already talked about in chapter 3, chapter 4, ethical issues, pre issuance report, all of those, whatever the auditor does before accepting a client, right? That's the first stage of audit. Then this audit starts. The first thing that auditor does is planning, right? Planning of the audit, getting to know the organization, talking about how are we going to do, what are we going to do, why are we going to do, the timelines, the resources, etc., right? All of the planning happens for the audit, right? And then when they are when they are checking the financial statements, they find some kind of audit risk, which we have already talked about, right? Now, audit risk can be multiple different types. We all know the different types of audit risk. The few examples I like to give you people, it can be in regards to revenue. I'm so sorry for my writing. You'll have to bear with me for that. Assets, then it for inventory, right? It can be for any of these three. Let's stick to all of these three firstly, and then there can be multiple different other audit risk also, right? Now, for example, I was reviewing the revenue of the company and I found that it is not as per IFRS 15 and it is overstated in the financial statements. For example, this was my observation. This was the risk that I found in the financial statements. Okay. Now, when I have found this thing, I need to deep dive into the same thing, right? I need to understand what made it overstated, what are the procedures management is doing, how management has recognized it, whatever things that manage, because management says my revenue is complete, my revenue is accurate. These are the claims that management makes. Management says everything is okay with my revenue, no problem is there. But on the contrary, the auditor has found some problems, right? So, auditor now is going to do some specific actions. Auditor is going to take certain specific actions, certain specific procedures just for the overstatement of revenue to find what is the issue with your revenue. Why was it overstated? Is it because xyz figure is having cutoff issues, for example, or xyz figure is not mathematically corrected, like written correctly, for example, or if xyz figure is not complete? It can be anything, right? It can be because of any such reasons. So as an auditor, I am going to perform certain actions to find the root cause of the overstatement of the assets. And in doing so, I will obtain sufficient appropriate evidence in order to gauge what was the risk about, why was it overstated. I will be talking about the evidencing, I will be talking about the procedures. What led to the overstatement? For example, whenever a crime happens at a crime scene, supposing there was a murder happening at a particular place, right? The inspector, the CBI goes there. The risk is, what is the risk? That the murder has already happened, so problem has already happened. Similarly, revenue overstatement has already happened, right? Now they are going to do all of their investigations. They are going to find what are the evidences available for that person, like their personal belongings, for example. They'll check the CCTV camera, they'll inquire the people around, who was it, who did murder, how did the murder happen, how did the person die, all of these things. In the, very very to the point actions they are going to do to be able to see who is the actual criminal. So here also the auditor is going to do exactly that. They have already a subject matter, which is revenue overstatement. It can be anything, it can be general revenue also. I am giving you people the example for overstatement, for example, right? It can be general revenue also. I just want to check if revenue is okay or not, right? So auditor is going to get you some evidences. He's going to discuss with people around, he's going to check the evidencing, the documentations, he's going to do his own checking, his own actions, etc., whatever. So basically substantive procedures are nothing, they are nothing but the actions that the auditor is going to do to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence, SAE, in regards to a particular item. Let's suppose say here it was revenue. Similarly, they are also going to talk about to obtain the ROMM, more information about the risk of material misstatement. For example, I give you the example over here for revenue statement, right? So whatever problem statement the auditor has gotten or can arise, I'm not saying everything is wrong over here. I just want to see if revenue, if the company is saying my revenue is 10,000. As auditor, I am very, very professionally skeptic. So I will say, okay, I trust you, but I am going to do my own procedures. And those procedures are known as substantive procedures. Okay, substantive procedures are very, very in relation to only and only your financial statements. Okay, these are specific to the items, to the items of the financial statements only. Okay, now if you see over here, there's a mind map which I have shown over here. If you see, so first of all, your sources of audit evidence, because your actions get you sources, right? The actions get you evidences, the audit evidence, right? What actually happened, what was overstated, why it was,
Experience and everything.
etc., right? So they get you some of the audit evidences over here. So in this case, they are going to specifically talk about all of these things. But here there are different types of audit procedures, different types of audit evidences that we have. Two types are there mainly in our syllabus. The first one, which we discussed yesterday, was about test of controls. Test of controls are more so process driven. Yesterday we discussed that, the company here in test of controls, we don't care about the financial statements. Here we just see if whatever controls the company has put in place, is it efficient, is it working fine or no, is it effective or not. So test of controls are again procedures which are going to give you the audit evidence regarding a particular scenario, but it is only towards your processes. Okay, the next type is your substantive procedures. All right. Substantive procedures are only and only in relation to your financial statements. It can be any of your action items, anything it can be. There are further two types of substantive procedures. Analytical procedures you would have heard a lot of times in your answers also. Analytical procedures is one type of substantive procedure. So when the question asks you substantive procedures, you can even write analytical procedures with it. Okay. What are analytical procedures? These are the procedures which are specific that we do for ratios, for example, or getting to know about the trends, for example. Basically, some number crunching we are doing over here. Comparisons, like previous year kitna tha revenue, is year kitna hai. So comparison, or if we compare with the budgets, management's budgets, that management estimated the revenue to be 10,000, how much is it actually? So we are comparing. Or if we calculate the ratios, gross profit, operating profit, and then we do the procedures regarding that. So analytical procedures are only and only catered towards your ratios, your trends, your comparisons, your numbers, etc. Okay. Whereas your test of details is regarding the evidences that you take for your supporting documentation, actually as part of your supporting documentation, wherein you specifically talk about the items of the financial statements, compare different documents, purchase orders, invoices, GDN, GRN, whatever, bank statements, bank ledger accounts, non-current assets register, etc. So these are the supporting documentation that you actually use to get an evidence. Okay, so this is the difference between these four terminologies. It's really very important because a lot of people do get confused, and in test of controls, they write substantive procedures, which is not going to get you marks. The simplest difference between these two is that test of controls is only for processes, is only for the controls that the company has applied, whereas substantive procedures is only for your financial statements, balance sheet items, P&L items, whatever. Okay, so this was the table about. I have also written some, I've actually copy pasted this extract from my own notes. So this is test of controls. I've given the example. Don't worry, I'll share this OneNote file with you people so you can refer. But the same thing which I've summarized over here in this table, the same thing with examples actually is written over here as well. Okay, next thing that we are going to talk about. Okay, before we start with this, let's understand the structure of substantive procedures. Okay, your substantive procedure, basically whatever line that you write for any substantive procedure, is broken down into three different aspects. Okay, three different aspects. One is your procedures meaning what meaning the verb, meaning what are you going to do. Are you going to discuss with the management? Are you going to discuss with the people? Are you going to observe? Are you going to review? Are you going to recalculate? Are you going to reperform? Are you going to inspect? Are you going to ensure? All these verbs are known as procedures. Okay, you can use any verb, but it should be, of course, relevant, right? There's a simple example I would want to give you, because a lot of people write random verbs also. You, again, basic English thing you have to use over here. Like, there's no auditing terminology that we have to talk about over here. Okay, two different words might seem similar, but you people get confused. One is recalculation and one is reperform, right? Recalculation is in relation to your calculations of the amounts. Like, if supposingly you have given me your test paper to check, and I have given you the marks on that test paper. So when you calculate 2 plus 2, 3, 4, then calculate up to 30 marks, for example, that is recalculation. Recalculation of the figures, of the amounts, to check if your total is mathematically correct or not,
Now,
right?
those who have
So
already studied the
e-performance
course
is
with me, some
basically in
of
regards
the
to your
other success batch
processing,
revision course or the test series, they know that I always emphasize over
right? So
two
that is your
resources. What are those
processes
two
over here
resources? We
that
have
you
to
are
give
specifically going
proper.
to talk about. All right. So that is your processes. Like, if the company followed a particular process, right? So that is when you re-perform that process to get to know if actually that was performed by the company, or whether it was actually relevant for the company. So perform actually means when you're performing a certain task, a basic English word, right? Nothing audit related over here. So when you reperform something, that is a process. Recalculation is for the amounts. So again, procedures can be any verb, but please make sure that you are using the correct verb into your answers also. Okay, we are going to talk about these in a little more detail. I'm just giving you a structure for this. Okay, how do we actually make? So you start with a verb like discuss. Discuss with the management, discuss with the finance director, discuss with a third party, anybody, or review the XYZ documents, or recalculate the XYZ amounts, whatever. Then this is the first part. Okay, next bridge thing is your supporting documents. Okay, basic. So this is the first question. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to review? Are we supposed to discuss? Are we supposed to recalculate? What are we supposed to do? Okay. Second one is a supporting documentation. Now, this can be anything. It just does not have to be a proper documentation like ledgers. It can be, of course, these documents for sure, but it can be other things as well. It can be, if I just talk about documentation, for example, it can be ledger accounts, bank statements, non-current asset register, non-current asset account. It can be board minutes also. Board minutes, that's also supporting documentation. So basically, if you're going to review, for example, how are you going to review? What is the process that you're going to follow? Okay, so this comes with the second question, which is how. Okay, how are you going to basically a supporting verb, supporting thing with your what? If you've written recalculate, how are you going to recalculate? So you're going to obtain certain documents for it to recalculate amongst the figures, probably that. Or if you're going to compare, how are you going to compare? What documents are you going to use? Right? Sometimes this how is hidden into the sentences, but again, depends if your question, if your substantive procedure is able to answer how, then you're good to go. Again, reiterating, supporting documentation is essential in your answers, but it necessarily not always it will be there. If it is a process, of course, mostly supporting documentations are not there, right? But usually you have to talk about the board minutes, any of the documents that you have obtained as part of your procedures. Okay. And the third, which is the most important thing, is assertions. Now, assertions basically mean claims. Claims by whom? By management. Okay. assertion का basic English meaning होता है claim. If you search it on Google or somewhere, basic English meaning is claim. Claim basically means management is claiming my revenue is complete. Management is claiming my provisions are complete. Management is claiming for example, asset actually exist in real life. So these are claims, and these are known as assertions. In audit terminology, it means assertions. In basic English terminology, it means claims, which answers our question why. If you are going to discuss, like the verb, if for example we are going to discuss, why are we supposed to discuss? To ensure accuracy, to ensure completeness, to ensure cutoff, to ensure XYZ assertion. We have learned a lot of assertions, right? We know a lot of assertions. We're going to discuss them, don't worry. But this is the whole structure of your answer. I always say, whenever you have written any of your substantive procedure, and guys, I'm not just talking about the case specific over here, I'm also talking about general ones over here, okay? Whenever you have written any procedure, be it general, be it um, case specific, it should answer these three questions. If it is able to answer what are we supposed to do, how are we supposed to do, and why are we supposed to do, you are good. At least it is complete. It's not incomplete. Okay? Correct, incorrect, baat ki baat hai. But if it is complete, only and only it will be complete. It is said to be complete when these three questions you are able to get your answer in a single procedure. Okay? A lot of people, and I'm not even kidding over here, a lot of you people also would have the self realization that you people are able to write this for obvious reasons, this also for obvious reasons, but all of you forget this to write. Why are we supposed to do? If I'm having a discussion with the management, why am I discussing with the management? What is the assertion? What is the claim I am testing? Management said that my revenue is complete. So I am testing if it is complete or not. So that is my claim. That is my assertion, which I am testing. Okay. So please make sure that this is 100% there. If it is not there, out of 1 mark for substantive procedure, you are only and only and only going to score half a mark for it. And baki matlab, if it is a 5 marker, kisi mein bhi if you have not written the assertions, you're not going to score more than 2.5, which is sad because you have like 25 marker, 20 marker, let's suppose, say, for substantive procedures, only half of it, and only if it is correct you're going to get. So this is really very essential. Okay, now let's talk about them in little more detail so that you get a revision of them also. Okay, so right now I just talked to you people about the assertions, right? I talked to you about assertions. Assertions are claims made by management regarding a particular item. If you want, please write it for yourself. It is going to make your life a little easy because a lot of people tell me, what do we mean by assertion? We are using the word assertion everywhere, but what does it mean? This is what it means. Okay. Now, assertions or claims, because I am talking about my financial statements, it can be for two things. Either it can be for my P&L account items, either it can be for my balance sheet items, right? These two are the main things that are there in my financial statements. So that is how the bifurcation also happens. Whatever items goes into your P&L account, those are transactions or events. Sales is a transaction, purchases is a transaction, expenses is a transaction, right? So these are the transactions. These are not assets, right? These are not balances. These are transactions which happen, right? So all of the transactions and events, these happen in your P&L account, and all the account balances, account balance for your cash, account balance for your bank, for your asset, for your liability, etc., goes into your balance sheet, right? So we have different types of assertions. Few of them are common for obvious reasons, but some of the terminologies are very, very specific to transactions and to account balances. This is equally very important to write. Again, as I said, that it is important for us to write the correct verb. जैसे अभी मैंने बोला, it is equally essential to write the correct assertion. Okay, we cannot use any random assertion in our substantive procedure. It has to make sense as to what we are writing actually. Okay, and these assertion, guys, is really very, very important for your section A also. In your section A, they are just going to give you a 10 marker case study, and they're just going to ask you what assertion have they tested. If you don't believe me, just go onto your study hub, and maximum questions that you see from substantive procedures is going to be from assertions only. And if you have rote learned them, if you don't know the meaning of them, you won't be able to answer even one of the questions. That's my guarantee to you. Okay, so I am going to one by one explain you the assertions also, so that you do not make mistakes in them. Okay, chalo, let's start with the first type of assertions that we have, which is in relation to your transactions and balances. Okay, the first one, again, if you want to take a snip of it, you can. If you want to write it down somewhere, you can, for your reference, for your ease. The first assertion that we have is occurrence. What does occurrence means? An event occurred. Normal English terminology. We are not talking, this is not anything in relation to your audit. You have to understand this thing. Occurrence, completeness, these are English, basic English terminologies. These are nothing in relation to your audit, right? So, occurrence means something occurred, something happened, an event happened, right? So, that is your occurrence. Of course, asset cannot happen, asset exists, right? It is not a event that happened. Your transactions and events happen. Your sales transaction happened. Your transaction occurred. Your expenses occurred, right? So that is your occurrence. Occurrence means something actually occurred. So in assets or in liabilities, when you're writing, if supposing the substantive procedure is asking for a bank loan, occurrence cannot be used over there as a verb. Why? Because bank loan cannot occur. It can exist for your company, right? So that is occurrence. Did the transaction really happen, or are we making it up? So that is the claim that the management is making. Yes, the sale actually occurred. So you are going to test the assertion for occurrence over there, if actually sales transaction really happened, or are they bluffing about it, for example. Right? So I have given two examples over here. You can quickly read it. Next one is completeness. Again, as we know, something is complete, right? Here we do not, again, a lot of people do get confused between completeness and accuracy also. Completeness does not care about the amounts. Supposingly, the company in a month made 5 sales. Okay, sale number one, B, C, D, and E to 5 customers. Completeness is only going to check that this is equals to 5. Actually, the sales happened to 5 customers, and in our books of accounts, we have also written 5. So 5 is equal to 5. That is all what the completeness assertion is going to test. If it is complete, I don't care how much amount this was there, how much this was there, amount wise. It does not care about that. Okay. Is anything missing? So auditor checks whether all purchases are recorded. So just like here, all sales are recorded or not. If 5 sales happened, have we recorded all 5 sales, or have we not recorded for customer A? That's completeness. Okay. Accuracy on the other hand is going to test your amount also. If supposing your customer paid you 10,000 for that sales, in your financial statements, have you actually recognized 10,000, or is it 1 lakh? That is accuracy. If your amount is accurate or not. So accuracy deals with amounts. Cut completeness only deals with if the transactions are complete and nothing is missing from there. Okay. So this is the meaning for these two. Okay. Fourth one is cutoff. Now, cutoff basically means that whatever transactions you had to recognize in this particular year, have you actually recognized in this particular year or not? For example, Let's suppose, say, take an example. Supposingly your year end was 31st of March. Before 31st of March, you had an expense, for example, of 10,000 rupees that you did on 30th of March. Expense in regarding to, supposedly you bought a new asset, for example, anything, you bought a new asset, for example, right? You made an expense of 10,000 rupees, for example. Okay. Now cutoff says, because this transaction happened before my year end, it should be recorded in the previous year only, 2025. It should not be recognized in 2026, for obvious reasons, basic logic also. Agar मैंने एक purchase, अगर if you people also have bought something in this particular month for February, you are going to count that February expense only, right? You're not going to count in March expense. Who does that? But company do use that technique to show their accounts in a different way. For example, they made a purchase in um on 31st of March, right? For example, on 30th of March, I'm talking about real life scenarios also, okay? Supposing the company purchased 10,000 rupees expense, not an asset, यहाँ पे asset नहीं ले रहे हैं, expense किया 10,000 का. If they have made an expense, my profit would go down, but the company don't want to, reduce down their profit. So what they're going to do, they'll say, no, 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 this is not the item for this year, this is an item for next year. So बहुत conveniently, they'll transfer it to next year. Jabki, in real technical sense, the amount was to be recorded in this year only. A lot of companies does that. So that is what auditor is going to check, if the cutoff is okay or not. Okay, so this is your cut off assertion, cut off claim. Okay. Next one is classification. Very simple, that you have classified your expenses, your assets correctly or not. Classic example for this one, which we have a lot of times seen in our audit risk, is your bank loan. Classic example, or IS 38 or IS 16. Right? We
Okay.
say that the bank loan should be correctly classified between current liabilities and non-current liabilities. As per IS 38, research expenditure should be expensed out, capitalized expenditure, development expenditure should be capitalized. So these are two different, like one item should be classified correctly into two different items, right? That is your classification. That if you have purchased, supposedly a building, it's not an expense, it's an asset, right? So basic classification, which we have studied in the junior classes also. Okay. And last one is presentation. So presentation or disclosures, actually, as per the relevant standard. So as per IS 37, the disclosures जो होने चाहिए थे वो हमने करे हैं या नहीं करे हैं, etc. So presentation disclosure comes hand in hand for all the transactions. Okay. So these were there for your transactions and events. Now, few of them, of course, are true for your assets, for your liability side also. One or two new terms you get in your assets terminologies as well. Let's discuss those as well. And then I will give you a break to ask your doubts. Okay. The first one, when we talk about balance sheet items. Now compare over here. Okay. Let me wait. Let's compare. Okay. So the first one over here is about existence. As I told you, asset cannot occur. Bank loan does not occur randomly to your accounts or your company, right? It exists. If you have purchased a car, it exists. It is it. आप ये नहीं बोलोगे मैंने my car occurred. Of course not. It is existing outside my house, or it is existing in my financial statements, etc. Basic English terminology, nothing audit related. So existence basically means, does it really exist? If the company is saying to me that I own a building in, let's suppose, say XYZ area, does that building really exist? Or is it, made up by the management? कि खाली land है वहाँ पे, empty land है वहाँ पे, and there's no building over there. So I am going to physically go and check if that building exists or not. Until and unless I visit that particular site or I see with my eyes, I won't be able to get to know if it is really existing or not. Right? So this is for supposing the company says, I have a building, and you physically visit that building, you confirm, yes, that building exists. So you are good. Now what can happen is, supposing the company said this is the building that we have in our name, and this, you went to the building and it exists. But what is the guarantee that this building is in the name of the company? What if it is a random building and मैंने बोल दिया ये मेरी building है? I can say like that also, no? A random building, if there's a random building, I can just say that this is my building, right? Just to show it to the auditor. So auditor is going to check its supporting documentation, ownership documents, deeds, etc. to get to know if the company actually have rights over that asset or not. From there, your next assertion comes in place, which is rights and obligations. Rights is for assets, and as simple English, obligation is for liability. Supposing the company says, I have a bank loan from XYZ Bank. So, how do I know that the management is not bluffing? How do I know that the bank loan actually exists? I'm going to probably go to the bank, ask them, have a bank correspondence, whatever, talk to them if the bank loan is really in the name of the company or not, obtain the bank loan documentations, etc., loan documentations, to get to know if obligation regarding that liability actually exists or not. Okay, so this is in regards to your rights and obligations. The probably the bank loan actually exists, but what if it is not the obligation of the company? So both the things have to be satisfied. Okay, then completeness, again very similar to what we discussed, that the assets should be completely recorded. If the company in physical terms has 5 assets, all of those 5 assets should be recorded in the non-current asset register. So it should be complete, no omissions should be there. Okay, next one is accuracy, valuation, allocation. Now again, valuation is something which is very specific to your assets or liabilities, right? Supposingly, your parents want to sell your home, for example, right? So if they reach out to an external party and they say, what is the value of my house? I want to sell it, for example. So they use the terminology value, valuation, right? So for everything, for whatever is part of your balance sheet, usually valuation is something that we use. So that is again correct value, correct amount, right? It is recognized at correct amount. Okay. Then classification, presentation, again, similar to what we discussed in the transactions and events. So are we okay till now? Do we have any doubts? Till now, I'll take a quick stop over here. The definition of assertion, no, no, no. They're not part of your knowledge-based questions. Classification is within the assets, that it is classified correctly or not. If it is if it is an expense, it has to be classified as an expense. If it is a liability, it has to be classified as a liability. If it is a current liability, it is classified as a current liability only, right? So that's the difference between and class that is classification. And presentation is basically if you have correctly presented in the financial statements, the presentation is fine or not. It's very basic, usually does not come into your paper presentation, but disclosures come. You know that for every standard you have to disclose in the financial statement that this is the provision amount that we have recognized, this is the legal liability that we have, this is the bank loan that we have. So that's a disclosure to notes that you have to put in. So this is presentation slash disclosures assertion. Okay. Reperformance basically means when you're reperforming a particular process that company perform. For example, inventory count. Company has performed, the internal auditor has already performed the inventory count, but you as an auditor, you want to reperform the process for a little sample of assets, of course not for all, to get to know if everything is okay or not. So reperformance, simple English word. Performance means when we're doing something. Reperformance is when we're again doing the same task to check if the process was fine or not. So that's your reperformance. Occurrence again, as a simple English terminology, basically means occurrence means something happened, an event happened, right? Murdered happened, right? So that is occurrence of an event, basic English terminology. So a transaction happened, sales happened, so sales occurred, revenue occurred, purchases occurred, an expense occurred. So that's your occurrence assertion. As second, I've watched your lectures of substantive procedure from portal till now, so I'm like I'm making good notes to right now for everything important you are letting us know. Will I still need to take those lectures? Which lectures are you talking about, Meham? If you've already watched, actually, you have not watched the lectures, I'm sorry. I would suggest you to please go and check out the lectures also. They are not lengthy. आप अगर लेंथ देखोगे lectures की, it's not lengthy. आप एक बार में बैठोगे 2 घंटा, I give you, मतलब मैं बोलती हूँ 2 घंटा बैठो and you'll be good to go with the all the lectures. So please go and check out. Notes are not enough. Even though you're able to understand, but please check out the lectures also. Okay, there's no harm in checking out the lectures. So, all right, guys. Any other doubts till now? Are we okay? Are we understanding everything till now? I want a quick yes or no from everybody. I don't want you guys to sleep. This is very important, guys. And you people only come up to me saying substantive procedures. I'm not able to understand. Not able to understand. So this is why I'm explaining in such detail. नहीं तो मैं फटाफट से रिवाइज करा देती मैंने बहुत डिटेल में बताया ये चीज. Should the SP always start with a verb only? 90% it starts with a verb only. But ek do baar you can start with something else for the receivable received, for example, for the revenue occurrence, something. But yes, 90% of the times it's a verb only. 10-12% of the times it can be something else that you can start with. But yes, verb will always be there. Okay? Obtain ROMM part. Which is obtain ROMM part? I did not get you. अच्छा ऊपर जो था SEA वाला this one wait this one wala this one is basically nothing but to get an evidence regarding the risk of material misstatement that happened. Okay, so whatever जैसे मैंने आपको example दिया regarding the revenue that it was overstated, so this was a risk of material misstatement, right? So we are going to get more information, more evidences regarding the risk of material misstatement that happened. So that's that. And was in a writing general any pointers to correct the mistake. Rahul, I am going to show you the question practice today. So probably that is going to help you out because I am going to show how can you make general procedures to specific ones. Okay, chalo, let's move to the next topic, quickly revision, and then we'll move ahead with the question practice also. Okay, so now type of word procedures. Now I have given you a list over here for all of the verbs that you can use. Now there can be other verbs. This list is not sufficient, is not limited. Okay, you can use any verb that you want to use as part of your procedures. It can be any of the verbs. Okay, and also just guys, quick one request from everybody. Please mute yourselves. It's really important because it sometimes becomes very distracting for me to, continuously mute you people while you are unmute. So please mute yourselves. Whatever doubts, whatever questions that you have, please put it in the chat. Or else when I give you the time to ask any doubts, then you can unmute and ask me. But when I'm actually teaching, that is when it becomes distracting for me and also for the student. So please make sure everybody is on mute, or else I would unfortunately have to remove any of the person who is unmute at that point. Please, it's a humble request from my side. Okay, so procedures I was talking about. Now, these are again, as we discussed, these are the verbs that we have. Oral procedures can be of multiple different types. We had so many verbs that we have learned as part of a basic English, right? So this list is just a starting point for you people, just to explain you the basic terminologies, and then you can use the other verbs also. Okay, so let's discuss. First of all is inspection of the documents and records. So when you're checking the papers or the electronical records, checking bills before paying, paying to the restaurant. Supposing you went to a restaurant, they gave you the bill. You first inspect all of the food is okay, the amount is okay, the tax is okay, the total amount is okay. So you're inspecting the documents to check if the amounts are okay. Similarly, the auditor is also going to check the documents to check if the amounts are okay, the asset is okay, the revenue is okay or not. So that's inspection. Okay. So inspection of the tangible assets. How are you going to inspect the tangible assets? By physically visiting the asset. You cannot inspect the asset randomly, right? You can of course check the documents. You can check the non-current asset register, but that's only a listing. उससे you won't get to know if the asset actually exists or not. Right? So that is your inspection. I have here given very, very simple examples. So I would urge you all to please read them also. You'll get a very good understanding from them also. Okay. Observation, very simple. When you're just observing the process, you're just keeping a check over the process. Like in the exam hall, the teacher only observes if nobody is cheating, right? She's only observing, right? Similarly, auditor can also do a observation of the process that is going upon. Supposing the company said that we are going to have an internal inventory count on such and such date. So auditor goes, does not do the inventory count, is just observing the process. How is it actually happening? Right, to check if the controls are effective or not, if that transaction, or if you're just observing the sales. Supposing you visited their shop, their website also, you can observe or visit, and you'll check how the sales is happening, right? So that is also, you're checking the occurrence also with the observation. Then inquiry from management. Inquiry is basically questioning. Inquiry, ask the management, discuss the management. So these three are the verbs that you can probably use over here. So when you're asking the questions can be with anybody, with the finance director, with the management, with a third party, with your lawyers, with your legal team, whatever people they have mentioned the question, you can inquire with anybody. Okay. Next, we have external confirmation, third party confirmation, because we have learned that third party confirmations are the most reliable form of audit evidence, right? So, external confirmation is when you're talking to a third party. It can be, again, it can be customers, it can be suppliers, it can be legal team, it can be bank team if you've taken any loan. So, it can be anybody, right? Next is recalculation. I have already discussed these two verbs with you, that recalculation is checking the arithmetical accuracy, whereas the reperformance is auditor performs controls again, right? That is, and then analytical procedures also we have discussed when we discussed trends, relationships, comparisons, ratios, numbers, etc. Okay, so these are the some of the basic verbs that you can use, some of the basic procedures that you can use. But even apart from these, there are multiple different review, discuss, ask. All of these are the other types of verbs that are also there, which you can easily use. But just make sure that the verb that you're using is making sense and it is correct as per the connotation of the procedure that you are writing. It's not a random verb. Okay. So these are types of procedures. And lastly, I'll quickly show you this and then we'll move to the question. So when you're
Ma'am,
writing,
what assertion does observation test?
observation can test occurrence, can test if the process is working fine, controls are working fine or not.
Ma'am, if we check if the controls are working fine, wouldn't that become test of controls instead of SP?
Depends upon the situation. What controls are they talking about? Sometimes they also talk about financial specific controls. So occurrence, you can just observe the process also. What if they talked about that we are doing inventory count? So you can observe the inventory count. That's part of your financial statements.
And so it would mainly test occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Okay, so writing good audit procedures, how can you write when the should be clear instruction of how the audit evidence is to be gathered. It should contain action, source, and objective. This is what I told you above also. Action is verb, is the question what. Source is source document, is the question how. Objective is your assertions, is your question why. If these three are present, only then you're going to score full marks and it would be considered as a good audit procedures. Otherwise, not. Okay. So till now, are we okay? Do we have any doubts till now? No, yes. Shall we start with the question practice? Okay, perfect. Do people want a break right now before the question, or are we okay? Yeah? Break? Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's take a break for 5 minutes. It's 8:51 right now. Let's meet at 8:56. Okay? All right, guys, are we back? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So before we start with our question practice. Let's discuss some of the common mistakes for SP. Although we have discussed most of them, but still it's important to just quickly go through this list also that I've created. So first one is not understanding from scratch, which is I think most of you, I'm assuming, would have understood from after this session. So understanding, of course, is important, not just again, as I said, from your section B perspective, but it is also very, very essential from section, actually most essential from your section A perspective, because if you are learning, it is not going to help you in 10 marker section A question, and this 10 marker is 110% going to appear as part of your exam. 110% SP question, 10 marker. Okay, not knowing the difference between SP and TOC, I think now it should be clear that SP is mostly, as actually not mostly, 100% in relation to your financial statements, whereas TOC is in relation to your controls that the company has put in place. Okay, so these two are not same, and these two cannot be referred together. Okay, then not writing case specific procedures, this is the biggest thing. These two, actually, these are the two things, biggest problems I still see even after mentioning this to everybody. I don't know if how many of you have checked out the videos, etc., but in every video of substantive procedure I have told the same thing. And if you still feel this is theoretical, if you wrote learn, ask the people for whom it is second attempt, third attempt, and in their MEP they get 20% in the SP question, 10%, 12%. I have seen a person scoring 2% in their SP question, and no, he did not skip the question. The third question that you have as part of your section B, I'm talking about that. So he scored 2% in that. In the last attempt only, he shared his MEP with me. And then when I asked him whether he learned the procedures or not, and then he said that in my tuition they said that you have to learn everything. They provide us a PDF for all the types of procedures that can appear, and they said that you have to rote learn every single thing, and that was his result. I'm not even kidding. If you want, I can show you his result also. But he genuinely scored 2% in his question number 3, and he attempted full question, full 20 marker question. Okay, so that is really essential, to not rote learn, to write. Of course, I'm not saying that all of the procedures that you write out of, for example, 5 marker question, if it is there, all of them you have to write case specific ones. I'm not saying that. Potentially that's not even possible in some scenarios. It's not even possible because the information is limited. I understand that. But if it is a 5 marker question, at least try and write 3 as per the case scenario, at least 3, and rest 2 you can write the generic ones. But please make sure that those generic ones also have the 3 questions answered that we just did till that we just discussed right now: what, when, how. Okay, so this is really essential. One more tip I would want to give you, again, if you people are serious, if you people have a pen and paper with you, I am going to give you 4 tips, 4 techniques of how can you make your general substantive procedures that you potentially are rote learning right now to your case specific ones. I will also be showing you these with my answer that I have written for your past paper when we're discussing. But the first one is using terms, words, phrases from question. Okay, sometimes, actually most of the times, not sometimes, most of the times in the case study they give you very specific words like receivable circularization was not performed. Why it was not performed? It's a very good procedure. Why is it was not performed? So one word is that. Another word, something in specific to a provision, something that happened, supposing a fire happened, so that fire is specific to your procedure, right? Specific to your case. So some terms, some words, some phrases which are there from the question only. Sometimes you get those ticketing that the management has given some tickets, 500 tickets that they have sold out. So those tickets are also specific terms that you use, right? From like that are from the question. So this is one way you can make your general ones in the normal general procedure that you potentially are rote learning. You can use or insert these words to make it more case specific. Okay. Another example, another way of you making it more specific is use numbers from question, numbers or percentages or whatever. So in the question, sometimes they say that 500 tickets, revenue of $10,000, sales of $20,000, whatever number that you are giving. If you're writing, recalculate the amount of receivable to ensure arithmetical accuracy. Why not write recalculate the amount of $10,000 from XYZ to ensure arithmetical accuracy? It's actually the same sentence from whatever you have wrote learned, but you are using the number from the question, making it more case specific. Because you are not recalculating random number, you are recalculating that specific $10,000. Right? So this is how you can use the numbers to make it more case specific. Another example would be using accounting periods from the question. Sometimes in the question they say for the year ended 31st of March, for the period of June to July, in the month of June 2024, in the month of August 2024. So why not use those words also? When we are using supposing with the assertion for cutoff, why not actually mention these accounting periods from whatever they have given in the question? Why not do it? When you can, why not? And you simply have to insert in your general procedures only. You don't have to make something of your own altogether, right? Fourth one, which is not really going to help you a lot, but again it's safer than writing fully general, is using client's name everywhere. Discuss with the management of XYZ company. They give you the company name irrespective, right? So you discuss with the management of XYZ company. Obtain the supporting documentation, obtain the NCA register of XYZ company. Discuss with the finance director of XYZ company. This is how you use the client's name also, as much as you can in yours. This is the least reliable. If you go by reliability, this is the least reliable, but yes, of course, why not? There's no harm in using the client's name. So it is not going to help you a lot, but in certain case scenarios it is going to help you. So main three priority should be given to these, and then the least priority should be given to this one as well. When you're writing completely general, like I out of 5 I've written 3 specific and 2 are remaining, in these 2 why not include the question name also, right? That I'm specifically talking about for this particular client. I'm not talking in general about anything, right? So this is how again you can write the substantive procedures. Okay. Now let's move forward with your question from your past paper. Please let me know, are you able to see my screen or not? Is there any problem in my voice, guys? No? I hope the voice is okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so let's start with this question. We'll discuss part by part. I will show you my answers also. I'll try my level best to explain to you how can write more specific ones. So please, please, please leave everything behind if you're doing something else. I hope you are not. But if you're doing it, please leave it aside. It's really important for you to understand this to be able to score very good marks in your substantive procedures. Okay. So first, let's read the first question and then we will be reading the case study. Similarly, which I have done in your risk question, control questions also, I am not going to waste my time in reading the entire question at once. I'm only going to go paragraph by paragraph or topic by topic, because if you see over here, they have given us 3 bifurcations, actually 5 bifurcations. Oh my God, 5 bifurcations they have given. So I am going to only go about with that. Okay. Describe audit procedures the auditor should perform in order to obtain reliance on the continuous counts for Tribeca Company's year-end inventory. So probably they're going to do some counting they are doing. So as an auditor, how can I place reliance upon them? I am going to talk about the procedures specific to that. Okay. Now if I'm a student who does not care about the case study, I only care about my rote learn procedures, I'll just start writing my answer. But we are not going to do that. We are going to read the case study. Okay. So it is 1st of July 2025. Very, very important. You are an audit manager at F company and you're responsible for the audits of two existing clients. So you have two clients, Tribeca company and C company. So you have two clients, Tribeca company, and then they have given us below over here C company also. Okay. The following matters have been brought to your attention for each of these companies. So basic background information they have given to us. Tribeca Company. Tribeca Company manufactures stationery products and has a financial year end of 30th September 2025. So this is basically, we are sitting before the year end. Okay. The interim audit is due to commence shortly. Forecast profit before income taxes is $19.1 million and forecast year-end inventory is $8.8 million. Okay, so basic information, basic background information they have given for Tribeca also. Now let's read the main part. Jiske basis pe we have to frame our procedures. Once I read all of them, you people are going to first think, draft the procedure, tell it to me, and then we are going to discuss from my answers also. Make sure five marks it is there, so not more than 5 to 6 points, 3 specific from here and 2 general which you probably know of. Okay, or if I can get all 5, I'll be more than happy. Okay. In previous years, Tribeca Company has carried out a full year-end inventory count at its warehouse in order to confirm inventory quantities. Okay. So previous years, may what used to happen that Tribeca Company had carried full year inventory count. So if you people know that there are two types of inventory count. One is perpetual or continuous or monthly. Basically, these three are the same words. Monthly, perpetual, continuous inventory counts, which you regularly count your inventory. And one is full year end inventory, which is basically at the year end you calculate all of your inventory. All of the inventory is counted. Okay, so those two procedures. So they have been following the second one, which is full year end inventory count in order to confirm the inventory quantities, which is okay. Now, however, now this is your first red flag. Jahan pe bhi you get this, however, for example, basically your procedure can be formed from this one also, right? This proved to be too disruptive for the business. Okay, so I am assuming some problem would have arisen due to which it happened to be too disruptive for the business. Now they are saying, therefore, in October 2024, that means because the year end is for this company is 30th September, that means in the start of the beginning of this particular year, right? Tribeca company implemented a continuous inventory counting system. That is what I told to you, that two types are there. One is full year in inventory, one is continuous inventory. So now they have shifted from full inventory to continuous inventory. Now, as somebody who is having a professionally skeptic mind, I am going to question. So my first thought would be, what happened? Why did they shift? They were following full year inventory counts in all of these years, and achanak say it was too disruptive and they shifted from full year inventory count to continuous. So I am going to discuss, I am going to question, I am going to ask, right? What was the reason, right? With counts carried out on a monthly basis. So now they have shifted their focus from full year in inventory to continuous inventory. So system change, process change has happened. Okay. The company's internal audit department conducted testing on the implementation of the new system. So they have done their own testing. But will I be reliant upon them? On what basis I'll be reliant upon them? That depends, because they might not have done it correctly, whatever. I am having a professionally skeptic mind. So another statement that I would like to highlight. The continuous inventory counting process involves counting all lines of inventory periodically throughout the year so that by the end of the year, all lines have been counted. Okay, basic process. Any errors, now here, any errors noted during the monthly counts are adjusted for in the inventory system after the completion of the count. Okay, so this can also be potential red flag for me. Okay, now you see, if you read this paragraph, you identified so many different things जो इस कंपनी के साथ हो रही है. A lot of things are happening, right? So as an examiner, if you are, as a student, you are writing general procedures, ये कर लो वो कर लो, कंपेयर कर लो इन्वेंटरी, क्यों कर लो, why would we do, क्वेश्चन में कुछ स्पेसिफिक रिस्क बताए हैं उन्होंने, तो आपको उन्हीं के लिए एक्शंस लेने, दीज आर ऑल द रिस्क, राइट? So you are going to take the actions for these only. You're not going to write the general ones, right? So let's first discuss, and then you people are, then I'll show my answers also to you people. So let's start with your answers. In between, I've given enough hints to you people. You tell me, Shreya, what is the issue in the last line? Think. After the completion, after count completion, they are making the amendment. So if it is okay, even if they are making it, but count happens on year end. So potential, some issues can happen. कुछ भी हो सकता है. We can talk about anything. No specifications they have asked us. So anything we can write. Okay. Cutoff testing. Cutoff testing. Okay. Cutoff like the assertion, but I want you people to write the full procedures. I don't want the assertions only. Discuss with management why the continuous system has been implemented to confirm reasonableness. Yes, Shayan, you are correct. Inquire from management of Tribeca Company the reason for shifting from full year inventory count to continuous inventory count and assess its reasonableness. Okay, guys, one question. In the question, they are saying that it has proven to be too disruptive. So is it not the answer to your substantive procedure that you are writing? You are questioning what was the reason, but in the question they have given you that it was too disruptive for the company. So is it reasonable for you to write this? Potential thoda sa change karo. Change the connotation of the sentence. You people are going in the correct direction, but because they have given this however, that might be an issue. Physically visit and inspect the inventory count to assess the valuation of inventory. Yes, you can do that. You can physically go and check if the count is happening, to check if the valuation is okay, the inventory count was happening. Fine. Others, what else we can talk about over here? Something in regards to internal audit department? Think. In this question, you have so much of information. Usually don't have this much of information. Just saying. Discuss with management the problem arising in the inventory count. What problem, General? What is the problem arising? Be specific. Inquire why the full inventory count was disruptive to us. Yes, you can talk about disruptive thing. That why, what was the reason? Like what actually happened? How was it disruptive for you? Discuss with management the disruption caused by full year inventory count and ensure that it is now being resolved. Okay. Inspect the board minutes of Tribeca Company to check what caused disruptions in the business. Yes, Shashank, you can talk about the board minutes also because this is a major thing that has happened. So they would have discussed in the board in within their board also. So yes, you can do that also. Inquire from the management on how reliable the new system is and perform a sample testing of the inventory count of the new system. Yes, because we might not be okay with whatever testing the internal audit department has done. So makes sense. Mm. Physically inspect that all line of the inventory must be counted to confirm completeness. Okay, because they're talking about line by line basis on periodic basis. Great. Okay. Attend inventory count for a sample of months. Sample of months. wrong wording. Sample of months कुछ नहीं होता है. Throughout the year and observe the process with the procedures are carried out systematically to record the inventory. Confusion between SP and auditor's response. Sushma, watch the first day one webinar. You'll be able to understand better. Inspect any errors adjusted are re- Inspect any errors adjusted are recorded in the current accounting period to assess cutoff. Okay, because they're saying that adjustments are made after the completion of the count. So we need to make sure that the adjustments are made prior to this year and it's not going to the next year. Well done, Shayan. So more or less, you people are on the right track. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, we have one more. Review the procedures undertaken by internal department in testing the implementation of the new system and assess the reasonableness. Yes, because they are doing the procedures. So we probably either we can do the reperformance या तो हम वापस से perform कर सकते हैं वो वाले procedures या तो हम उनका जो procedure है उनको review कर सकते हैं to see if the testing was okay or not. So anything. Okay. चलो, let me show you my answers also. Okay. So this is my answers. This PDF is already shared with you people in the Drive link or I will be sharing it. So मैंने general जो लिखे होंगे वो I will not, okay, I've written all specific. Oh my God, okay, I'm too good in this then. Okay, I'll show you. See, if I have written how many points? I've written 7 points and all 7 I have written specific, which I'm surprised by myself also, but let's see. Okay. So first of all, first part, document. So this is not the supporting document. This is documentation wala document. So if you understand the English terminology, document the new inventory system in detail. So we got to know from the question itself that they are having a new inventory in place, right? And confirm understanding of the documented system by undertaking a walkthrough test. Walkthrough test is how the new system is working through, like what is the process of the new system, right? Any necessary adjustments should be made to the system's notes to understand if new system is working effectively, right? Because this system, if it is not effectively working, it is going to impact my inventory valuation, right? If you want to, again guys, if you want to, you can write to ensure correct valuation of inventory. Okay, so this is the first procedure I have kept in place in order to make sure that my new inventory count system is working effectively and it is not leading to any problems for my inventory. Okay, from the valuation point of view. Okay, next one, review the internal audit department. So I've written in short also reports. So they are saying that internal audit department is going to do the testing. I believe this is the word that they use. Let's see. Yeah, internal department conducted testing, right? So they would have made some reports regarding the same thing. So that is what we are going to see. I'm going to review the reports of IAD relating to the implementation of the container system and discuss any significant findings or deficiencies with this with the same team to confirm if they are accurate. So this is my verb. This is my what. This is my why. And this is my how. Like I am going to check the implementation and also I'm going to discuss the significant findings or deficiencies. When I was discussing, I told to you people that in your substantive procedures, not always you're going to see direct supporting documentations, right? Sorry. Okay, are we okay till now? Is ensuring correct valuation? Yes, yes, yes. Valuation is a correct assertion that we talked about when I was discussing the same with you people. Okay. All right, let's move to the next one. Obtain and review a copy of the written instructions issued to counters to determine if the count instructions are adequate. So whatever count instructions were given for the inventory counters, you can also see the specific instructions regarding the same. This is not specific actually. This is a general one. I'm sorry. This is a general one. So this is basically when you obtain the, so whenever the people are counting the inventory at the inventory warehouse or whatever, they receive some instructions as to how they are actually going to get counted, right? So we are going to see or observe or obtain or review a copy of the same to see what instructions they were um, given, right? So yahan pe, to make it more specific, you can write the question name also. Obtain a review or copy of written instructions issued to counters of the company name. I think Tribeca Company. So you can write that also. Okay. Next one. Attend at least one of the continuous inventory counts to review whether the counters are following the controls detailed in the inventory counts instructions to ensure accuracy of the process and documentation done by IAD. This is what you people told me that we are going to visit, attend, review the inventory con that has happened. So observation, attending, anything that we can do to check if the inventory count that was happening, is it correct, is it as per the instructions, or is it not? Okay, the instruction Abhaya remember is, if you go back to your case study, they say that all the lines of the inventory periodically throughout the year, so that they, by the end of the year, all lines have been counted. So this is kind of an instruction only, that the continuous inventory process will be involving counting all the lines periodically. All the lines of the inventory in the warehouse, it will be counted periodically. So this is one kind of instruction that they have been provided with. Okay, so this is what you can talk about over here. All right. Any doubts? Sorry. Isn't fourth a test of control? No, it's not. If we are checking our inventory count or not, whatever count that they are doing, if the count is okay, that is going to mean completeness, right? Valuation, accuracy, all of those. Third, no, 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 no. Not third, not third. Third, no, again, not, it won't be a test of control again. Why? Because if you check the instructions are okay or not, that is going to mean, this is basically talking about the lines of the inventory. If lines are counted perfectly or not for the inventory, right? So if the instructions are not well given to them, that is going to lead to accuracy or completeness issue for your inventory also. They might not be able to completely count the inventory that is there in the warehouse. So again, you can, if you want, you can write about the completeness of inventory over here also. No problem, Alfia. Thank you. It's okay. Okay, Shreya. If the instructions are okay, if the count instructions are okay, that is going to mean that the inventory is complete, right? The amount of inventory, the count is accurate and it is complete only if the instructions are okay. This is a again, this is not a control that the company has put in place. This is a standard process of the company. So if it is not a control, it cannot be a test of control either. Okay. Next one. While at the count, undertake test of the counts of inventory from records to floor. Floor basically means warehouse. Actual present inventory in the on the floor. Okay. From floor to records. Records basically means your actual inventory documentations. Okay. In order to confirm the existence. Now, because I am going physically to that warehouse, that means I am testing the existing assertion and completeness of the records. Why completeness and existence? So from the records, I am checking to the floor. So what, supposingly in my records, 10,000 inventory is showing. So I'll physically go to the warehouse and I'll check if that 10,000 inventory is there or not, checking the existence. Okay. And then from the floor, for example, in the warehouse, there are 9,000 inventory. I have counted, right? So I am going to see if in my records, those 9,000 inventory is there or not. So this is going to get me completeness. Okay. Yes, you can write count sheets also. Records ki jagah you can write count sheets also. Which one is in general? Third one was general. Fourth one was not. Which one, Maham? No, no, this is not general. Inventory count is specific to the question. Okay. Are you okay till now? All 5 points, have you people been able to understand them from basic? मतलब basic meaning समझ आया है for every point? And I have not, even if you see the answers, I have not used any jargons from elsewhere. Basic English, basic use of all documents, and I've written the answers. ठीक है? Rest two. Review the adjustments. Now, in the last point, they mentioned about adjustments. So I'm using the same word from the question. Review the adjustments made to the inventory records each month in order to gain an understanding of the level of differences arising on a month by month basis to ensure accuracy of the record. So I'm going to see if the management is correctly and accurately recording the inventory records in the financial statements also or not. The difference is basically, the deficiencies basically, जो भी problems थी, whatever adjustments needed to be made, have they actually made it or not? Again, using the same thing from the question. Right? Next one, if significant differences arise consistently, तो ये adjustments की बात हो रही है कि अगर consistently हमको लगता है कि बहुत सारी adjustments आ रही हैं, assess whether this indicates that inventory records are not adequately maintained. So if continuously problems are, that means inventory records are potentially not well. Discuss with the same with the management whether a full year inventory count should be performed for this or not. क्योंकि उन्होंने system change कर दिया है. So I am going to discuss whether they actually need the full year inventory count or not. Okay. So 7 I have written over here. Again, guys, ये list जो है, this list is something which I have written. You can also have your own procedures which can be absolutely perfect, absolutely fine. Observe the procedure for movement on the inventory during the counts in order to confirm all movements should be seized. Adiba, not here. This is again not specific to the case scenario. It is correct, but it is not specific to the case scenario. So if you're talking about general, then it is okay, but otherwise it's not. Why? Because they have not talked about anything in relation to seizing of the inventory counts, movement of the inventory. They have not talked about anything in that regards. So if you're writing general, yes, it is okay, but it is not in relation to the question. Okay. This question is okay to you people? Everything is okay for this one? Any doubts till now? Yes, no, something? Okay, let's move to the next question. Okay. Next question is, describe the procedures auditor should perform in relation to Tribeca company's purchases and other expenses. Again, this is a 5 marker. That means we have to write at least, we have to write 5 points, maximum 6, 3 as per the case, rest can be general. Okay. Now let's read the next paragraph. Tribeca Company produces monthly management accounts which contain year-to-date information for the statement of P&L. Okay. Purchases and other expenses for 9 months to June 25. So they've talked about 9 months only are 51.2 million and to June 24 were 57.5 million. Again, previous year, the expenses were 57.5 million, but for the current year, it is reduced. So, question mark for the management. Why? F company will undertake testing of purchases and other expenses during both the interim and the final audits. Now, in this particular case scenario, the information, if you see, is very limited, right? So it is going to be little more difficult to write specific ones, but use all of the jargons, all of the words from this particular case, and then move to the general ones, right? So jargons like 9 month period to June 25, these amounts are also mentioned to us, right? Will undertake testing of purchases and other expenses during both the interim and final audit. So we can obtain the information from the interim audit also, get to know about the purchase and expenses, etc. So we can use these words also. Okay. So let me tell you, like you people tell me what should be the starting of our procedures for this one. Read on your own and let me know. Yes, why not? It is saying substantive procedures, so you can write the analytical procedures also. Compare the current year purchase and expenses of this and investigate the reasons from management. Shashank, something is missing. ठीक है, but something is missing. Compare current year purchases of 51.2 million with previous year of this and investigate their differences to assess completeness. Okay. ठीक है, Shayan it is okay. Inquire from the management the rationale behind the increase in purchases from this to this. No, सुप्रदा, रीरीड. पिछले साल कम ज्यादा था, इस साल कम हो गया है, तो इंक्रीज नहीं हुआ है, डिक्रीज हुआ है. So reread the question carefully. Perform a proof in total of the purchase and other expenses and compare with the management to ensure accuracy. Perfect. Dinesh has actually turned a general procedure to specific one. Guys, if you see his procedure, whatever Dinesh has written, he has turned a general procedure to a case specific procedure. Obtain the breakdown of expenses of this with the supporting documentation in relation they are classified properly. Okay, classified, and you can also add completeness also over here. So both the assertions are okay. We can talk about the cutoff, like if the 9 month purchases and expenses have been recorded in the correct account period. Yes, you can. That's probably a general one, but yeah, it can be written over here. Inspect the reason for decrease in purchases and other variances, assertion the reasonableness. Overall, it would be good if you write the amounts also. Abhi, it's looking very general. Amounts लिख दोगे तो becomes more case specific. Inquire the management reason for decrease. Review the findings. Compare. Adiba, we already have the differences. So why are you again going to discuss the significant differences? You already know the significant difference of the amount 57 and 51. So not relevant over here. This means that you're writing rote learn procedures. Review the findings made by the testing of purchase and other expenses during the testing. Observe if any significant differences and confirm its reasonableness. Okay, Vidya makes sense to me. Obtain the breakdown of expense of this of 51.2 with the supporting documentation relation they are classified properly. Perfect. Makes sense to me. Okay, so most of you are trying, which is good. Some of you are correct also. Let's see my answer for this one. Okay, I have written how many points? I've written 6 points only. General ones we'll read afterwards. I'll first show you these ones which I've made general, made specific. Okay. So this one, let's read. Let's focus upon this one. Now, you people asked me, can we talk about the analytical procedures? Yes, we can. I told to you because this is type of substantive procedure. Here, if you see, this is my analytical procedure. calculate the operating profit and gross profit margins and compare them to the last year and budgets for the period to June 24. I told to you people, you can make your general procedures too specific if you include your accounting periods to it. So here I have written accounting period for the previous year and also the full year and investigate any significant differences. So this was a general procedure जो आपने रोट लर्न करा होगा for example. But I have made it to a specific one by writing this particular accounting period, which was given in the question. Okay, so this is how you turn your general procedures to a case specific procedure. Okay, next one. This is a very specific one. Discuss with management and obtain supporting documentation regarding the decrease in purchases and other expenses amount from this to ascertain its reasonableness and if any amount is understated. So this understated is basically testing your completeness assertion. Right? So this is exactly what you people also told it to me, that what is the reason for the decrease? There would be some reason, right, that purchases have decreased. So we are just going to discuss the same with the management. Again, case specific one. Okay. Next one, let's see fifth point. Select a sample of invoices posted to detailed purchase listing after the year end and confirm the date of supply to ensure that any expenses, this is basically a cutoff, which you people also told to me, that any expenses relating to current year have been included in the relevant expense account and accrual to ensure accuracy of the same. You can also write to ensure correct cut off. Okay. You can also use over here, if we see what is the year end for this one. September 2025. So you can also use the same thing, September 30th September 2025. You can also use this over here. What you are just saying, you're just taking a sample of all the invoices, the purchase invoices or the expenses that you have done. You are you're not taking a sample from them and you are comparing it to see if from the previous year if it is making sense or not. Basically, all the expenses, all the purchases for this year are recorded in this year only in the relevant expense amount. Basically, if the expense was in regards to some admin expenses, it is part of my admin expense. If it was part of some rent, it is part of my rent account. If what it is part of your salaries, it is part of your salaries account. All the expenses are relevant into the current accounting records for this particular current year. Okay, so yahan pe you can add the accounting period, this one. You can add the question name also to it to make it more case relevant, case specific. Okay, so as I mentioned that there is lesser information, so jo bhi information was available to me specifically, I have written 3 as per that. And rest 2, the first one, cast the detailed purchasing listing, agree to trial balance to ensure completeness and accuracy, is general one. But see over here, if you see your other substantive procedures, they would have just written till here. 2 is not there. Assertion is not there, right? But you people have to write the assertions also. Similarly, over here, which point did we miss? This one. Review purchases and expenses on line by line basis for any significant differences and investigate through the discussion with management. Again, very, very general. Here, if I want to make it more case specific, I could write the question name over here. ओके या फिर मैं लिख सकती थी रिव्यू द परचेज एंड एक्सपेंसेस फॉर करंट ईयर एंड ईयर का नाम ऑन लाइन बाय लाइन बेसिस फॉर द सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंसेस okay so this is how you make your substantive procedures which are general to case specific. Okay, do we have any doubts for this one? Why can't we review the findings of the testing? टेस्टिंग करा होगा तो कोई रिपोर्ट जनरेट करी होगी तो वो रिपोर्ट हम देख सकते हैं. Whenever we are also doing a testing, this is all a part of our testing, we also gather the evidence, the supporting documentation. So when they are also doing their testing, they would also have their supporting documentation or evidences recorded, so we can review them. If the expense would have been, excellent. If the expense would have been increased, then we can write the same third SP with relevant changes. Yes, yes, absolutely. Why not? That changes with the connotation of the question. As and when the question changes, you can change your connotation of your substantive procedures as well. Yes, they are going to do the testing before the year end ultimately, and we'll be doing these procedures after the year end also, no? So once that's done, we can review the testing. Can we write about classification here that to ensure all the expenses are related to purchase only? Yes, you can write about the classification. That's a general procedure. You can write about that also. That's correct. No problem. Any doubts, guys? Which assertion to use but have problem in writing more procedures? Like, and I can write one or two but have problems in writing more. Practice more. The only thing, guys, if you have understood which assertions, what are the procedures, next, as said before I start with the lecture, 50% is you understanding from my point of view about the procedures, 50% is practice. Okay, so both, a combination of both has to be there. Proof in total is basically, Adiba, when the auditor is going to calculate some figures on their own and then they compare with the expected figures from the management. Just supposingly, if the management has calculated a figure of 10,000 for revenue, I, as an auditor, I don't know that the revenue is 10,000, for example. Okay? So I will, depending upon the information given to me as part of my information provided by the management, I am going to take out a rough figure for revenue. Okay? Ki on this basis, on these estimates, on these assumptions, the revenue should be around 10,000. So if it is matching with my management, I am good. But if it is not, if it is too high for the management, just say 1 lakh rupee, if for example for them it is 1 lakh rupees revenue, and as per my calculation it should be 10,000, then I am going to see what is the discrepancy, and vice versa. It can be lesser also. So that is your proof in total. Classification one is general. Should we write why for analytical procedures? Technically, you should. Why are you doing the same? To investigate significant differences. That's your answer to why. Again, one, thank you, Shreya, for asking this one. From this, I got one more tip for you people. Not all procedures will have specifically the assertions that we talked about today. Okay, two basically means, like, if you're writing why, if you're answering why, if you see over here the second point that I've written, let me just show you this one. The second point that I've written, if you see, there is no specific assertion that I've written. Accuracy, cutoff, classification, all of these are not written, but still this statement is answering my question of why. How? It is saying and investigate any significant differences. So I'm calculating the operating profit and gross profit margin ratio. Why? Because I want to investigate significant differences. So that is your assertion over here. That is the answer to question why. That is the reason I tell you people to follow this particular format only. To basically what, why, and how. These three questions. In any format, if these three questions are getting answered, you are good. Okay. Are we okay with this particular question also? Shall we move with the third question? Why can't we use recalculation? Recalculation where? Which calculation have they done? How are you going to use recalculation, Janel, for this? Management has not given you calculation for operating profit, gross profit margin. So you are only going to perform the calculation first time, no? Recalculation means again calculating the same thing which management has provided to you. So यहाँ पे तो they have not provided to you any operating expenses or operating margin ratio, gross profit margins, etc. So that is the reason we are going to calculate. Okay. Can we write to confirm accuracy in SP2? Calculate and compare to last year. Accuracy कैसे पता चलेगी इसमें? अमाउंट्स की accuracy कैसे पता चल रही है इसमें? तो हम बस कंपेयर कर रहे हैं कि पिछले साल कितना था, इस साल कितना है, तो accuracy नहीं पता चल रही है अमाउंट की. पिछले साल if it was 10, this year it is 20, we are just getting to know the difference कि 10 का difference है, but accuracy नहीं पता चल रही है amounts की, तो not accuracy over here. Okay. All right, let's move to the next one. Okay. Substantive procedures for the in relation to Chelsea's companies, directors, bonuses. So they have given us some information, yeah, for directors' bonuses also. So we are going to write the procedures for them. 5 marker. That means 5 procedures, at least maximum 6. 3 as for the case. 2 general we can write. Okay. C company manufactures lighting equipments and its financial year end is 31st of May. Very important for us. The final audit commenced 2 weeks ago. The draft financial statements show profit before income taxes of 5.5 and liabilities of 13.2 million dollars. Okay. The board of directors of C company is made up of 9 directors. Okay. ठीक है. Basic information. Each director receives an annual bonus which is detailed in their contract of employment. So, of course, every contract should have the detail for it, which is okay. The bonus is based on the increase. Okay, now the bonus, red flag, guys. The bonus is based on the increase in profit before income taxes as compared to the prior year. My risk is that this should not be done. So I am going to do procedures to get more information regarding this same thing because this is a thing which should not be done, right? C company's board agrees the board, so they agree the bonus based on the draft profit before income taxes, which is itna, this much, which is then paid in June each year, which is paid in June. June is after the year end. Cut-off issues prior to finalizing of the year end financial statement. So they are paying in June based upon the profit of this, for example. The current year bonus was paid to each director in June 2025, but year end happened on 31st of May, so potential cut-off issues can happen. And the costs were accrued and recognized within the payroll expense for the year end 31st of May. So they are saying that we have accrued and we have recognized it in the this year only. So now, till now, we were thinking cut-off issue could be an issue. But now, I don't think so. It can be an issue, although it can be because we want to review now. We will not perform any procedures. Cut-off testing won't be performed. We'll review the documents to see if they've actually accrued it or not, right? Separate disclosures of the bonus for each is required by local legislation in the country in which C company is based. A lot of information is given over here. I want you people to tell me all the specific procedures over here. I don't want to see any general now. बहुत information provided है. Review the P&L account for the PBIT is accurate. We are not performing the procedures for PBIT. We are performing the procedures for bonuses. Directors' bonuses. Review. Okay, wait. I'm getting so many. Okay. Review the statement of profit and loss to ensure that accruals are recorded in the correct accounting head. Shayan, what is the assertion? Review the regulations laid by the local legislation in respect of the disclosures and agree them to the drafts to confirm presentation. Correct, Dinesh. Review the minutes of the board of company to ensure the base of bonuses is okay, Suprada. Now your answer is questionable. Why? Because it seems that you don't care about the case study. Why? Because if you know from the case study, if you read the case study says it is based upon the profit. But from your actual conceptual point of view, should your bonuses be based upon profits? No. So even if it is correct, I don't care about that because it is ultimately not correct basis altogether, right? So your substandard procedure does not make sense over here. Obtain the post-year and bank statements and compare with the bonus statement to ensure accuracy of the amount. Shashank, yes, it's a general procedure. It's correct. Review the board minutes for director bonuses to ensure occurrence. Okay, general one. I want case specific, guys. कितनी सारी information provided है. सबसे पहले बेसिक क्वेश्चन तो आपने पूछा ही नहीं. The basic question you people have not asked yet. Adiba is correct for the disclosures. That's fine. First line, guys. Basic question. पहले basic question तो पूछो. इतने सारे hints दिए मैंने आपको. Review the contract of employment of 9 directors of C company and ensure if they are entitled to bonuses. Correct. Review the bonus of directors and check whether they are based on the profit of the year end and not on the draft base. JNL, no, 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 no. Conceptual clarity issue you have. Should your bonuses be based on profits, guys? First question. This is risk question only. ये तो risk में भी हमने कितनी बार करा है. Our bonuses should be based upon our own performance. हमने कैसा perform किया? It should be based upon my performance. If my bonus is linked to my profits, the directors will be too, reluctant to reduce the profit for the company. They will try and inflate the profit for the company, which is so bad. So that should not be done. That should be a question कि क्यों basis है? What is the rationale for it? Yes, now your people are correct. What is the rationale for taking the profit as the basis for the bonuses? It should not be done. मतलब it should not be done तो आप नहीं बोलोगे, but आप discuss करोगे इस चीज के बारे में कि क्यों लिया है ये चीज. Guys, this is very basic. This is related to your risk portion. This is not even related to your procedures portion. आपके bonuses, आपकी salaries, आपकी wages, they cannot be based upon profits of the company. If it is based upon the profit, even for the directors, even for the auditor, it cannot be based because they will have the leverage to increase or inflate the profit because jitna zyada profit hoga, howsoever much the profit is, they are going to get the bonuses on the basis of the profit. So that is the reason you're going to discuss with the management what is the rationale for it, what is the reasonableness, reasonable for it, what are the assumptions you have taken for it. Yes, this should be the first procedure that you people write. Shayan, very general. No, I won't accept this procedure. Guys, you people are going to give me the test in the future for the procedures. If I receive general procedures in the cases when most of it can be written specific, I won't be giving marks. Obtain written representation from management to confirm the completed and director's remuneration, including bonus for Chelsa company. Adiba, again, little bit on more side. It is correct. It's fine. It's correct. But it's more related to your general ones. Discuss with management the basis for deciding the payment of bonuses as a reasonable assumption. Ensure the bonuses are based on the director's performance and not pay. Ensure tak nahi. So maham till assumption it is correct, but ensure wala we'll skip because abhi hum discussion kar rahe hain. So what is the basis for it? So that we are discussing right now. Adil basic. This is general. It is correct, but it is general. If the base of profits you had previously, then there are chances and profits is inflated. Yeah, so but right now we don't care about profits over here. We care about the bonuses. Obtain the payroll listing and agree them to the payroll ledger of Chelsea to confirm bonuses are accrued, ensuring completeness. Payroll listing and payroll ledger. Yes, Dinesh, you're correct. Calculate the profits for the year and verify it against the year prevention of fraud, misstatements, since bonus or payroll. Suprada, we don't care about the profits. We care about the bonuses. Substantive procedure for the bonuses, not for the profits. Okay, now let me show you my answer for this. Okay, I've written 6. Let's see. First one, general made specific. Obtain a schedule of directors' bonuses paid in June 25 because they have said that they are going to pay in June 2025. So I am going to obtain the schedule. This was a general one, but I have included this from the question and cast the schedule to ensure it is accurate. So I'll obtain the schedule or list of the director bonuses that I've paid. I'll cast, I'll agree, I'll recalculate basically. Cast basically means total up. Okay, agree the amount to that disclosed in the financial statement. So this was very, very general. If you open up any of your answers, any of your kits, whatever, you will be able to see this one. But I have made it case specific. How? By including this figure, because from the question I know that they are going to pay in next month, not before 31st of May. So this is general made specific. Second one, recalculate the bonus payments and agree the criteria and percentage rates to be paid to the director's bonuses service contracts to ensure accuracy. So again, general made specific. Next one. For each director, agree the bonus amount from June payroll, records to bank ledger account, bank statements to ensure accuracy and completeness. This is exactly the same substantive procedure that one of you gave it to me. So this is again a general one. But if you write the statement, the words from the question, it is going to be more case specific. Okay. Next one. Sixth one discuss karte hain. Discuss with management to understand the rationale behind keeping directors' bonuses based on profit before income taxes to ascertain the assumptions made are correct. So this is again specific case scenario. This one, review the disclosures made regarding the bonuses paid to directors and assess whether these are in compliance with local legislations require separate disclosures. Because in the question, they specifically said that our local legislation requires the bonuses to have a disclosure. So that is again, I'm reviewing those disclosures if the company has made them in line with local legislation or not. Again, case specific one. So here I was able to write five actually, as per the case, and this is a general one. Obtain written representation from management confirming completeness of director's remuneration, including the bonus. So completeness I am testing over here. Right? So I talked about the problem in relation to profit before taxes. I talked about the local legislation. I talked about if the amount is okay, which they are paying after the year end, and I'm then recalculating the amount also from their service contracts to see if the amounts are correct or not. Okay? Are we okay, guys? Any doubts? And all of what you said, what you wrote, that is also okay. जो भी हमने discuss किया, you can also write that also. Confirm the bonuses for each 9 directors by agreeing to bank ledger, bank statements, accounts. Yes, very good, Adiba. You can also use 9 directors. Specifically, उन्होंने बोला है 9 directors. Why not use it? Very true. Okay. Are we okay till here, guys? Any doubts? Any questions? Till here, we're done with substandard procedures. Any problems? Yes, no, some issues. Is it better than before? Your understanding for procedures is better than before. How can we say about current year with previous year in here in this particular question you cannot, because of course there would be differences, significant differences. This year could be different, previous year would be different, so here you won't be able to do. Okay, are we okay? Shall we move to the last question, which is in regarding your review and reporting? Yes, it is. If you understand, everything is correct. Okay? कुछ भी doubt है, please let me know. I'm here. I'm not running away. If not, yes or no, let's not waste time. No doubts, please write a no, and then we'll move to the last question. I should also know that there's no doubt. Okay, perfect. Last question. Let's forget this now. Let's only concentrate on this now. Okay. Now, before we move to this particular portion, let me discuss one thing with you people regarding review and reporting. Okay. Now, two types of questions usually appear as part of your R and R, review and reporting, basically the last 5 marker question. Okay. It's a compulsory question. You will 110% see the same question in your exam also. Okay. Two types of questions are usually asked. I will question you first and then I'll see if you people know the difference between these two and then I'll discuss. Okay. First type of question is when the question says, does the the report or financial statement, whatever, require, sorry, not the report, financial statements require amendment? First question, first type of question. Second type of question is when they talk about what would be the audit opinion and what would be the impact on the audit report. Okay, these two types of questions you usually see in your reporting. Only these two can come, nothing apart from that. Okay, now tell me, do you know the difference between these two when you are answering? What do you write in this question? What do you write in this question? Or is it same? Quickly, guys. If you don't know, just write I don't know. We'll move. For the first one, we check materiality. Okay. Talk about IAS. No idea what this. Please explain. Both are different. I think same. Okay. This is the reason I am talking about this. These two types of questions are not same. Okay. Thank you, Shreya. Yes, IAS 10 we're going to talk about. So first question is not asking you about what would be the later stage. Basically, it's not asking you about what is going to happen with the audit report. What would be the auditor going to state in the particular opinion? Modified, qualified, adverse, whatever. First question is only asking whether the financial statement. So basically, what happens is overall gist. What happens is they provide you a case study, right? And in that case study, they say that something went wrong with the company, right? They tell you this provision went wrong, some fire happened, something happened. अभी भी जो क्वेश्चन हम करेंगे उसमें भी सेम चीज होगा, कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ हुई होगी, समथिंग बैड वुड हैव हैपेंड, राइट? तो नाउ दे से कि डू यू थिंक जो ये सिचुएशन हुई है, do you think we should adjust our financial statements? Do you think we should change our financial statements? Do you think you should amend our financial statements? That is our first question. It's not asking about the opinion. It's not asking about the report. It does not care about that. It is just simply asking you, do you think we should change our financial statements? That's the first question. If you people remember IAS 10, events after reporting period, it says there are two types of events. One is adjusting events, one is non-adjusting events. So this question pertains to that. Okay, let me explain it to you. So this question, you are going to talk about IAS 10 specifically. Two situations we have, if I quickly remind you about IAS 10 also, you have adjusting event, you have non-adjusting events, right? Adjusting events are those, now what can happen? A situation happened, for example, there was a situation that happened. So supposingly, this adjustment and non-adjustment depends upon if the conditions of that particular event happening existed prior to the year end or not. Basically, if supposingly year end is 31st of March and there was a fire that happened in April, of course nobody knew in before March that the fire is going to happen. Nobody knew about it, of course. So it's a non-adjusting event. That means my financial statement, because if see what would be the adjustment if fire happened, my warehouse is all obsolete, all damaged products. So my inventory should be written down. Technically, अगर देखा जाए, my inventory should be written down because fire आ चुकी है, वो products मैं नहीं बेच पाऊंगी for the future, right? So if because it is a non-adjusting event, because मुझे उसके बारे में पता ही नहीं था, so it is going to lead to my financial statements. I will not adjust. I will not amend because the situation did not exist prior to the year end. Only a disclosure would be required to the users in the notes. Hey, listen, users, on 10th of April, after the year end, a fire broke out at our warehouse in so and so location on so and so date, and this is the loss of inventory that has happened. That is my disclosure. But if the conditions existed previous to the year end, which is supposing there was a customer of yours that was not paying you the amount, right? You had a thought that he might not pay you in the future, but you were still skeptical and you recognize the receivable. So, and after the year end, supposing he got bankrupt and he is now saying, I'll not be able to pay you. It's a bad debt. It should be amended. Why? Because the condition existed previously. So when the question is asking you, do we require amendment? So the question only wants to talk is only asking you, do we adjust the financial statements? Do we subtract the inventory from the value of the inventory? Do we subtract the bad debts from my receivables or not? It does not care what is the auditor's opinion. It does not care about it. But in the second question, this is where it actually cares. It will give you a so and so situation and it will tell you whether it will ask you whether it is material, pervasive, qualified opinion, modified opinion, etc. Okay, so this is what you are going to hear, you're going to talk about. One more thing, guys, I think somebody told right now, that is the reason I'm talking about this one. IAS 10 does not care about materiality. If it is material, not material, I don't care about it. I just care whether it is an adjusting event or a non-adjusting event. So when you talk about amendment, of course, if you write about materiality, examiner won't cut your marks, but it is not necessary. Okay? If you write, it's good. I personally say do not write it. Why to waste time when you're not getting marks? क्यों waste time करना? हमारे पास है ही नहीं time extra. Right? For the second question, materiality is very important because uske basis pe he will tell whether it is material only or it is material and pervasive, what it is. So this is the difference between these two questions. Please don't consider these two questions as same. Okay? Chalo, let's discuss the question now. Now, question is saying, explain whether the 2025 financial statements of C company require amendment in relation to this matter. That means our first question they have asked. हमें यहाँ पे ओपिनियन बताना ही नहीं है, हमें बताना ही नहीं है हमारी मॉडिफाइड होगी रिपोर्ट, क्वालिफाइड होगी, whatever. And second, it is saying describe two audit procedures which should be performed in order to form a conclusion on any required amendment. So, if requires amendment, what further procedures we should perform? So, wo puch raha hai wo. Okay, let's read the question. It is now 24th of August, which is after the year end. The audit of C company is almost complete. The auditor's report is due to be signed shortly. So, अभी तक signed नहीं हुई है, अभी होने वाली है. The following matters have been brought to your attention. A key supplier of C company, fifth company, is suing the company for breach of contract, alleging that C company failed to complete an order for purchase of significant item of plant and machinery. So it is a problem for us. The lawsuit was again very, very important, guys. The lawsuit was filed prior to the year end. And the sum claimed by supplier is 0.6 million. This has been disclosed as a contingent liability in the notes to account. So right now it is a contingent liability, but it should be changed now. Correspondence has been received from fifth company indicating that it is willing to settle the case for a payment of 0.4 million. By Chelsea, it is likely that C company will agree to this. So this is a potential outflow for us. It's no longer a contingent liability. The conditions existed prior to year. What are we going to write in this particular regards, guys? According to IS 10, this is an adjusting event since the conditions existed previous to the year end. What is the adjustment that we are going to do? We are supposed to do? What is the adjustment, guys? 0.4 million, right? Yes. So we are going to talk about the 0.4 million dollars about over here. And then we are going to write a single statement that yes, an amendment is required in this particular regards. This statement is really essential because this is how the question gets answered. If you see, they are saying whether the amendment is required. So until and unless you write this statement that amendment is required, you're not going to score 1 mark out of 3. Okay, so let me show you your answer for presentation purposes also. How are you supposed to write? Okay, here. So first of all, guys, never ever start your answer, be it for this amendment question, be it for your audit response question, your opinion question. You do not have to start writing, yes, the amendment is required. What is the case background? थोड़ा तो background दोगे case study का. So this is how you give the background. First thing. Fifth company, a supplier of C company, is suing the company for 0.6 and a contingent liability has been disclosed. However, subsequent to the year end, agree to settle 0.4 million. It is likely that C company will agree to this. So this is a background. Again, if you have a pen and paper with you, you can write the steps for this one. So pehle you give a background for the situation. Okay. Then you talk about the situation in standard form. Although the settlement was agreed after the year end in accordance with IAS 10 events after the reporting period, it provides further evidence that the company had a present obligation as at 31st of May. Right? This is an adjusting event. This is going to score you 1 mark. And the financial statement should be adjusted by replacing the contingent liability disclosure with a provision of 0.4 million. Okay, otherwise provisions will be understated. So हम उसका consequence भी बता रहे हैं. So this is your impact on financial statements, right? The initial sum claimed was 0.6, but in line with the proposed settlement, the probable payment is 0.4, and this should be this should form the basis for the provision. Therefore, amendment is required. Okay, so contingent liability of 0.6 million should be converted to a provision of 0.4 million, or else our provisions will be understated. This is going to fetch you 1 full mark, and this is going to fetch you 3rd mark. Okay. Then we talk about the procedures. Very simple. अब मुझे पता चल गया the amendment is required, right? So what are the procedures I'm going to do now? I'll talk to the lawyer. So contact the lawyers to confirm 0.4 million is probable and to be paid in full and final settlement. So I'll contact them. Review the correspondence because the question itself said, if you see over here, यहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला correspondence has been received over here. Correspondence has been received. So you'll review the correspondence over here to confirm that it is willing to settle the amount at 0.4 million. Review the post-year and bank's ledger and account and bank statement for payment of 0.4 million to check if actually we have made the payment of 0.4 million or not. Discuss with management whether it is probable that they will pay 0.4 million to settle the case and obtain a written representation for the same. So for the procedure, आगे क्या करने वाले हैं? Discussions करेंगे. We'll talk about the provision, if it is recognized or not. We'll discuss with the lawyers also. We can obtain the correspondence review also. So whatever procedures you want to do, any out of these 4 you can write, any 2, not 4. Okay, I have given you the option for four, but question only asks for two of them. Okay, this was, I think, pretty simple. So let me know, guys, if now we are okay with the entire case study. Any doubts, any questions now?